Alright, what's up, family? We're gonna do this again. So I think it's actually healthy. We're not trying to piss anyone off. I think it's healthy when we have a real conversation and give real experiences. It may help someone. It is no way, shape, or form trying to piss someone off. So if anyone out there getting pissed by these videos, that means there's a disconnect in you, because that's not the intention. These are just real stories that I'm giving out that happened to me or experiences. So therefore, I'm gonna title this one. It's gonna be dealing with racist nonsense again. So I'm gonna title this one of my childhood racist experience. Let's do that again. One of my childhood racist experience. Short title, right? So instead of making this real long, let's get right to it. Because although it's a lot to lead up to it, let's just get right to it. So this was around when I was like in the 6th, 7th grade. I remember I was hanging with one of my buddies. He's Portuguese. Last name Rodriguez with an S. So I know if a lot of y'all knew that. Rodriguez with a Z would be Spanish, S would be Portuguese. Or some other person, right? But anyway, I remember on this day, this is around the time when a lot of kids, we used to have like the BMX bikes. We would put the bikes together, all kind of stuff like that. That's what we did back then. There wasn't no phones, no iPhones, all that. We really got outside and played. We put go-karts together, bikes together, and all that. But anyway, on this day, that's what a good friend of mine and I was doing. And I went over to his neighborhood. Now, he's been over my neighborhood before. We always had a great time. In school, we got great grades together. I was always real good at math. That's how I wound up being real cool with him and a bunch of his other friends, because I got the best grades in math in school. It's like, man, this guy's really smart. But anyway, let's get to the point. On this day, I'm over at my buddy's house. Well, no, we riding bikes through the street and this and that. Then he said, yo, man, I got some other parts for you that'll be good on your bike. I got the cushion thing for you. I got these, he said, I got a brake thing I can hook up on your bike, because I ain't had no front brakes. So, I said, I bet. We go to his house. We go up his driveway. He had a big shed in his backyard. I thought it was amazing. And in that shed, they had like an old Chevy. It just had the frame. It had sand and all this dust and stuff all around and all these parts. And I said, oh man, y'all got a car back? He said, man, my father claimed he was gonna work on that car with me for years. We ain't did nothing. So it's gonna lead up to this. Remember, what's the title of the video? One of my first racist experience. So anyway, we in the back working on the bike. And I'm impressed by all the stuff he got, the bike parts. And I'm like, wow, this is cool, man. And we doing a good job, good friends, putting the bike together. All of a sudden, his back door opens up. And you hear somebody yell at him and says, hey, come over here, blah, 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 blah. Now, I ain't going to say that. Let's just make up a name. Let's say his name was Michael. So all of a sudden, I hear his father, a manly voice, go, hey, Michael, get over here. So I'm like, uh-oh, he in trouble. That's all I'm thinking. Uh-oh, he in trouble. And then the father comes stand in the doorway with his hands on his hips like, get over here. Now, get over here. Because at first, Michael was like, all right, what's up, Dad? What is it? And he said, get over here right now. Come in the house. Now, just by that, come in the house, I was like, I think I know where this is going. Come in the house? And you see us out here putting bike parts together? So next thing you know, he goes in the house, and all I hear is a bunch of yelling. And a bunch of yelling. I can't really hear his voice, but I hear the father's voice yelling. You better not never. I hear the word never, and I hear the word, what the hell is, I hear stuff like that. And I'm not even working on the bike no more, because I could feel it. I could feel the tension. So next thing you know, he opens the door, he's come back out. And the last part I heard his father say, better not never be around here. That's the last part I heard. And I knew exactly what that meant. My buddy comes straight up to me. He said, yo, man, just put stuff together. Let's get out of here. I was like, yo, man, what's up, man? You all right? Yo, he looked totally disengaged. It was like he was like a zombie all of a sudden, but real pissed off. And I was like, yo, man, you good? He said, nah, man, come on, let's just leave, man. Let's leave. When we left, we drove blocks till we got to another park. And when we got to another park, I kept asking, yo, everything all right? He said, nah, man, my father get on my nerves, man. Man, he always talking all this junk, And then I said, yo, but what's wrong, man? Did I do anything wrong? That's because I'm a kid, and I'm thinking, did I touch some tools I wasn't supposed to? He said, nah, it ain't you, man. Trust me, it ain't you. It's him. Yo, my father, he didn't say this word, but I'm going to say it. He said, my father is a deplorable. That's going to be the word of the day. I love to give you a word of the day. What does the word deplorable mean? this is going to be a definite great example of his father, the way he explained it. Look up the word deplorable. I mean, deserving strong condemnation, dishonorable, disgraceful, shameful. And that's how he felt. He said, nah, man, it definitely ain't you. He said, nah, man, my father studied running his mouth, talking about, I better not. He said, look, man, he said, yo, man, I don't want you to be upset. But, yo, my father is the most racist person in the world, man. I'm telling you, I can't stand him. Man, I ain't gonna never be nothing like my father. And I was like, dang, man, oh, so what? He was mad that I was in your backyard. He said, that's nothing. He said, yeah, he told me, I better not never let you over the house and this and that. And, you know, of course, I'm feeling like this, like, wow, man. Wow, your father really like that? He said, yo, but my father got some nerve. He got some nerve. Because before he was saying all this, you know, I was sitting on the side, and I watched him. He was just driving his bike in a circle, but you could see he was like in a daze, like, and that's when I kept asking him, you know, what friends supposed to do? You console each other, right? So now I'm asking him. Then when he finally started letting it all out, he's like, yo, my father is so freaking racist. Everything out of his mouth is freaking racist. Yo, I'm telling you, I ain't gonna be nothing like him when I get older. I'm not gonna be nothing like him. I was like, wow, man. So, but he was upset because I was there. He said, yo, man, don't even worry about it, man. Don't even worry about it. He said, man, just like you see that car? You see that car that was in our garage? He said, man, my father got that freaking junk from the junkyard. He said, he told me he had promised me that we was gonna put that car together years ago, and he never did nothing. He said, man, but he always got time to talk about how he can't stand Spanish people. He can't stand black people. He can't stand Jewish people. He always running his mouth. He got all the time and the energy to be racist against everybody. But yet and still, he said, man, would you believe? He said, you know how many times I hear my mother cry at night because this guy almost never around? He said, yo, June, he told me, he said, would you believe this? He said, man, do you know I got a brother I just found out? My father got another family on the other side of town. But yet and still, he always dogging every other race. But meanwhile, he got a whole nother family, and that's why my mother be doing all this crying at night. Yo, we went into some real deep conversation. But ultimately, what he was explaining is how he looked at his father as a deplorable. Remember, showing strong condemnation, disgraceful, shameful, dishonorable. That's how he looked at his father. Now, you know, and I felt like, damn, man, so they had a problem because I was over your house. Damn, that's crazy. He said, yo, man, please, man, don't let it bother you, man. Me and you cool, man. He said, but like I tell you, man, you know, I ain't gonna never be like him. He said, man, you know, like I said, man, I just found out I got a brother across town. So I was like, yo, damn, you got a brother? I was like, you ever spend time with him? He said, nah, man. He said, yo, man, why would I? I don't know that guy. And my father, that's why my mother was doing all this crying. And you know, my father is so phony. He's so freaking phony. So let me just tell you this. It was weeks to months later, me and him got in the same conversation again, and I brought it up as far as, yo, man, have you met your brother yet? And you know what this guy told me? He said, you know what, actually, my mother made me go spend time with him. He said, you know what, I don't look like that guy. I don't act like that guy. Me and that guy had almost nothing to talk about. But you know what was crazy, John? He said the one thing that we did talk about was how we both hated our father. He said, man, me and this guy didn't talk about sports, girls, nothing. And he's older than me. He should be teaching me stuff. He said, we didn't talk about nothing. But we did talk about how it turns out my father didn't just do me dirty. He told me how his father never was there with him and his mom, and how they got evicted out of another house and another place, and the father never helped them out with nothing. But yet and still, he said, do you know, he was pumping that same racist, trying to pump that same racist stuff into his head. That's what he said. That's what he told me. That's the only connection him and his brother had. He said, talking about how his father was saying all the racist stuff to him that he said to him. He said, that's the only thing we had in common. Isn't that crazy? And I hope he said, man, because he kept saying my half brother. I was like, come on, man, it's still your brother. He said, nah, man, I don't know that guy. He said, but it's crazy. The only thing we had in common was talking about how deplorable both our father was and how racist he is. So that's when I was a kid. But watch this. There's going to be a connection to this. It's a beautiful connection. Because like I said in the beginning of the video, this is not to piss nobody off. This is giving you my real story. And if you get bothered by it, you got a problem. Because how dare you judge me on my story. This is my story. You know what I'm saying? And I'm only trying to make a forum for people to give their story. But please, don't get on here talking nonsense, racist. You know, you got people out there saying stupid stuff like, let's stop talking about race. Let's stop talking. No. Listen, black people ain't never destroyed white people's property and land. But there is history of Tulsa, Oklahoma, Rosewood, and so many, Central Park, and so many other places. But yet and still, they always try to paint this picture that, oh, black people bad. Nah, knock it off. Knock it off. But anyway, let's get to a more positive part. So anyway, now this many years later, I got 2 little girls now, right? When they little. And every now and then when they was at a daycare, I used to go to the daycare and ask permission from the people that run the daycare, could I read them a story? And I will always read like a Greek mythology story to them. You know, I put my own little spin on it. I got a couple of videos out there where I'm talking about Greek mythology stuff. So I would do that. And like I said, I will always be theatrical. I'll jump up on the desk and I'll say this what they was doing. You know, because you want to really get into the little kids, make them be creative, make their imaginations go wild, right? And that's what I used to do. And at the daycare. Then when they started going to elementary school, I, once in a while, would go to elementary school and ask permission, could I read, whenever the time was available, could I read a story to the kids? And on this particular day, or 2, I read a story to my daughter's elementary class. It's amazing how, like, we always hear people say, it's a small world. And in her class, turns out, after reading the stories the 2 times I did, it was one particular girl in that class. I don't know this little girl, but evidently she went home and bragged about the story that her friend told, her friend's father told in class, and went on and on. And turns out, one day when me and my wife went to pick up our daughter later, we see a couple approaching us. And as I look, I'm like, holy smoke, is that Michael? You know, a childhood friend. See? Beautiful story. And then he approached me with his wife. And then his daughters came out, and then she came out, and she said, hey, Mr. Space, this, that. And she was all happy to see me. I was like, hey, how you doing? She said, he read the story to us. He read the story to us. Like, she was all animated. That was cool. But then as he was talking to me, he said, yo, I knew it. I knew it had to be you. He said, man, I came up here a couple of times hoping to see you, but I never seen you yet. He said, I knew it had to be you to tell a story. He said, man, my daughter keep going on and on about her other classmate. Father came in and told a story to the class. And then, not only that, when she said her friend's last name, you the only guy I know that got that last name. He said, so I was like, I think that's Spinks. But then this one, I knew it had to be you. She said, you told a Greek mythology story. And I remember when we was in school, you used to always read Greek mythology. I said, wow. So we laughing and joking, and the whole time, see, these things are magical. The whole time me and him talking, his wife is right here holding the daughter's hand with a smile on her face from ear to ear, staring at me the whole time with this great big happiness. I never met this lady, never seen her a day in my life, but she had this huge smile on her face. And then finally, my buddy Michael, right? He looks at her, he said, hey honey, I want you to meet, and I extended my hand to reach her, to shake her hand. And when I did that, yo, she just grabbed me and gave me the biggest hug. And she's like, yo, I am so happy to meet you. She said, my daughter go on and on about how you read them that story. She said you was up on the tables, that you was jumping on the tables. I was like, yeah, I do that once in a while. And then she said, no, not only that. See, because these are the 2 most important people in her life. She said, not only my daughter, she said, but my husband told me stories about you years ago. And now I finally get to put a face with the name. She said, this is so nice. And yo, we hugged, and it was cool. It was cool. And you know, and then even afterwards, when we went to part ways to say bye, I was looking at how his daughter was just all over him like he was Superman. And when I said, yo, man, good seeing you again, I said this to him upon parting. I said, yo, Mike, you look like you the world's greatest dad. Look at how your daughter look at you, man. You like Superman. And yo, he just responded to me and said, hey, man, that's my job. I'm going to do everything to be a great dad. I try to be. I knew what he meant by that. And I knew my intentions was saying that to him. You're doing a good job. You get what I'm saying? Remember that statement he said when we was kids? I'm not going to be nothing like my father. But you see, when his wife gave me that huge hug, let me tell you what that huge hug was. It wasn't lustful for any of you silly people out there. Let me tell you what that hug is. You can always tell how a person thinks and feels about you by the way their wife treats you. That pillow talk and whatever else goes on in the house, the way their wife talks and treats you, that tells you what this guy really thinks about you. Because the way she grabbed me, well, I don't even know this lady. It was amazing. It tells me right there, he speaks in high regard of me. That was wonderful. But look, let me go on, see. I gotta mention this other part. Now this touches on that story, but it also touches on a deplorable person. Remember, what does deplorable mean? Serving strong condemnation, dishonorable, disgraceful, what's another one? Disgraceful, dishonorable, shameful, right? Do y'all all remember the old Twilight Zone episode where that deplorable guy, he had just got off work and he went into the bar? And when he went into the bar, it was a crowded bar. But when he went to sit down, his buddy was like, hey, come on over here, John. Yeah, yeah, we did. And he just looking angry. Just looking angry. And they said, come on, man, we had a hard day at work. He's like, man, they hired a bunch of damn Spanish spicks at my job. They hired a bunch of, he said the N-word in that episode. He said they hired some damn niggers. That's the supervisor. The damn Jews, this and that. The chinks. He was going on and on, being the deplorable that he was, being so shameful to his friends, being loud. And they was like, yo, come on, man, calm down, man. We got, and it was a black family over here. And they group of people, because it was a bar. They heard him all loud, and they was like, and they was like, yo, Tony. He said, I don't give a damn. They said, man, come on, man. We here to have a good time, man. Knock it off. He was like, did you hear anything that I said? Did you hear anything that I just said? They hired some damn spicks at my job, and they got a damn nigger who's a damn supervisor at the job. He was going on and on with his deplorable self. And then eventually, they started to disperse, and they said, hey, man, come on, let's just get up out of here. And as they went to leave, his friends all of a sudden said, hey, wait a minute, we forgot our keys, and they had to get something else out. And he was the only one that stepped outside of the bar. Remember what we talking about? This is Twilight Zone, about a deplorable. The moment he stepped out of the bar by himself, it was Twilight Zone. He was instantly in Germany, and he was a Jew. And all of a sudden, the German soldiers were chasing him and shooting at him. And he was like, hey, what are you doing? What are you doing? And he tried to look for the bar. The bar was gone, because remember, we in the Twilight Zone. I love this episode, because I believe in that old saying, give a person a taste of their own medicine. You don't like it, do you? You don't. So now he running and running and running, and he's like, what are you guys doing? I'm a white guy. I'm a white guy. And they were shooting at him. He rushed in this lady's house, and right away she yelled at him, get out of here, like disgraceful of this, like you Jew, this and that. And then he went out on the edge of the high building trying to escape these Germans, and they seen him. They started shooting at him and having fun, like he was a target practice. And they was like, pow. Pow. And he was like, oh, come on, please, I'm a white man. I'm a white. But they don't see him as a white man. They only see him as a Jew. And eventually they shot to the point he fell. He fell off that high ledge and boom. But when he fell, he wasn't dead. All of a sudden, somebody grabbed him, picked him up. And when he turned around, he said, come on, man. He thought it was the Jews. But when they turned him around, all of a sudden, it was the Klansmen with their deplorable butts. They turned him over, and what they seen now was a black man. And he was like, hey, what you guys doing? Come on, man. And then I remember the one funny part that he's like, I'm a white man. And the white deplorable Klanman grabbed his arm. He said, hey, look, this nigger got on a gold watch. He said, what are you talking about? I'm not black. I'm a white guy. Come on, man, come on. And then they went to string him up, to hang him, this and that. And then all of a sudden, when he closed his eyes, next thing you know, he was in the swamp, because he thought he was dead. And when he was in the swamp, he couldn't believe, like, what the hell am I doing here? Snakes crawling around and all this crap. And then all of a sudden, he heard American music. So now all of a sudden, he was like, hey. He seen a bunch of black and white soldiers, American soldiers. And he was like, hey guys, it's me. Hey, look, I'm a white American. Hey guys, come on. And when they seen him, they didn't see a white American. They seen everything that he said in that bar with his deplorable self. They seen a gook. They seen an Asian guy. So as soon as he was yelling at them for help, they pulled out their stuff and their gun, and they was like, And he was like, what are you doing? What are you doing? I'm a white guy, I'm a white guy. Next thing you know, he went up under something hiding. But eventually, he ended up right on a train with a whole bunch of Jews going to who knows where when that deplorable Hitler was doing all that nonsense. And all of a sudden, while he was on that train, he could see the bar. And his friends came out of the bar, and they was asking, hey, where's John? John, he just came out of the bar, where's he at? And he was right in front of him. He's like, guys, I'm right here. Guys, I'm here. But they was like, we hear something, but they couldn't see him. But you see, the reason I love that episode so much, like I said before, give a person a taste of their own medicine they don't like. It's almost like, instead of the actual definition for racism, you know what it should be? The definition for racism should be jealousy and envy. Because I've noticed so many times, these be the same people that love to say stuff like, oh, these Spanish people taking our jobs. Well, guess what? The jobs are there for you to have. And you know the first thing they said? I'm not doing that. Nah, but you kept saying they're taking your jobs. And then you're jealous of the black guy over here because he has a better house than you, or a nicer house, because he worked hard for it. Everything that they got, they worked hard for it. They earned it. Everything you got, you had to steal it or was given to you. So now it's hard for you to look at this person and really just appreciate a good person. Instead, you look at them with jealousy and envy. See, that's what it really is. But hey, I love that Twilight Zone episode because boy, oh boy, he got a taste of his own medicine. And as I said, like in the beginning of the video, this is not to pitch nobody else. This is my story. Tell your story. If it bothers you, tell your story. But be honest. Because like I said, the stuff that they did to black folks with Rosewood, Tulsa, Oklahoma, making up stories all the time just to do deplorable things, just making up lies, making it up just to do deplorable things. Hey. This was another one of my videos way back in the days right here. What is it called? My first racial encounter, I think it was called. It's right here. Yeah. This was a girl who I thought, you know, I was a kid. This is my friend. This my friend. But boy, oh boy, when she got around her other white friends, she turned on me. Made me feel confused, like, Lisa, what the heck? You never act like that before. Why when you get around your white friends, you switched on me? Messed me up. But what messed me up even more was when Miss Lee, the guidance counselor, was a black lady, she got me in her private quarters and she explained stuff in detail, historically, about my actions, how I was wrong, what I did, and how I felt, and things of that nature. And, you know, she explained things to great detail that made sense to me. How people switch up on you when they get around other people that look like them and they don't look like you. They switch up on you in a heartbeat. But hey, that's just my story. Peace.